It's been 36 years without Peru in a World Cup, but they finally will be joining France, Denmark and Australia in Group C. Everything that you need to know about these teams, their squad and their players coming right up. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on this channel. And finally, today we have another preview of the Russia 2018 World Cup. But before moving on, I just want to remind you guys that our mission here is to bring you footballing content without any of all that hatred, bias that we see on stuff like, I don't know, ESPN FC or other content news outlets out there. So I try to give you the less subjective bias out there and try to bring you more objectivity to our videos. So if you enjoy that, well, perhaps subscribe. But finally, we'll be starting off this preview with the first team in Group C, and that's going to be France. So just like I said, we're going to start off with France, which is the most likely candidate to finish top in this group. They're currently ranked in the 7th position of the FIFA Coca-Cola World Rankings and obviously managed to qualify to the Russia 2018 World Cup by coming top of Group A in the UEFA qualifiers. The current manager is Didier Deschamps, and they have appeared in the World Cup 14 times previously, with their most experienced player being BugaLuis with 91 appearances. Their last appearance in the World Cup in Brazil 2014 ended with a loss to Germany in the quarterfinals, and their current top goal scorer is Olivier Giroud with 30 goals. And definitely his star player for this World Cup is going to be none other than Antoine Griezmann. Antoine Griezmann, a player who has been talked about of moving to Barcelona, Manchester United and other big clubs out there, or maybe even remaining and staying at Atletico Madrid. So perhaps this World Cup is going to be huge if his move is not decided yet before the tournament starts. But if its move is already in the talks, we could see a case very similar to Luis Suarez moving to Barcelona last season, where he actually completed his transfer with Barcelona after Uruguay got knocked out against Colombia in the round of 16. Moving on to their squad, their potential 11, I gotta say they have a very strong team, and it's just impressive because we're gonna put a list of 11 players even as substitutes, and they could also challenge for the World Cup. But in this series, we're gonna start off with the potential first 11, so the main players, and we're gonna go right away in the goalkeeper position with Hugo Lloris, their most capped player. The two defenders I think are going to be Samuel Umtiti for the left and Varane for the right, the two main center backs. For the left back position, we're gonna have Benjamin Mendy, which I think that coming back from injury from Manchester City, I think he's a likely candidate to be starting that position, because the other player is obviously Lucas Hernandez from Atletico Madrid. But I just think that Benjamin Mendy has that little bit of offensive ability, you know, that Lucas Hernandez doesn't necessarily have by trade, because he has been playing most of his playing time as a center back, but now recently he has been playing as a left back for Atletico Madrid. The right back is going to be Djibril Sidibe, and their two main CDMs are going to be N'Golo Kanté and Blaise Matuidi. I think that the three behind the striker are going to be obviously Thomas Lemar for the left and Antoine Griezmann as a center forward behind Olivier Giroud, and for the right is going to be Kylian Mbappe. I'm gonna give this squad a rating of A, because I think that this is the strongest squad I've seen out of all the teams right now in the competition. Spain also has a very good amazing squad. However, the main thing is that I was very worried about what they're gonna do with the strikers up top. However, in this case, I gotta say that for France, the only main question or criticism I have is that they do not have like a current leader. Because you see Lloris, he's the most capped player, but he's not like a leader type player. He doesn't have that ability or profile, and there isn't any like a Zidane before. There isn't any like a Didier Deschamps or Laurent Blanc before. There isn't this guy who's gonna just grab all his teammates and tell them focus, concentrate. They're all very young players, very talented, but I'm just scared that they're not gonna find that leader that's really gonna help them build a team around. So that's the main criticism I have. But if we take a look at on paper every single position, they just have a very strong squad. And moreover, they're playing all teams which I think that are definitely one level behind them in Australia, Peru and Denmark, even my Peru. So I gotta say that France, they will most probably have the ability to win every single group group match. I think they're gonna be able to win, and hopefully at least there's gonna be either Denmark or Peru who's gonna be able to take a point away from France. But imagine if France draw against Australia, then they will be in a tricky situation. Moving on, finally, to Peru. We're gonna take a look at Peru, my country. They're in the World Cup after 36 years. I'm very, very excited. They are ranked in the 11th position in the FIFA Coca-Cola World Rankings. This is the higher we've ever been in our history. Before it was 15, but now we're 11, and we almost got into the top 10. If I'm not wrong, something would have happened. If I think Brazil beat Chile, but Argentina lost against Ecuador, something like that, we would have been in the top 10. But unfortunately, we're in the top 11th, which is actually, well, pretty good. And they qualified, obviously, by beating New Zealand in the international playoff. We won 2-0 overall by drawing 0-0 in Wellington in New Zealand. Our manager is Ricardo Gareca, which is an outstanding manager. Everybody here in Peru are very, very happy with his effort. And there are even people talking about making a monument to him, like a complete monument out of like stone, you know, which that tells you a lot. They have appeared previously in the World Cup 4 times. And their last appearance obviously was in Spain in 1982 in the group stages. Their most experienced player for us is Jefferson Farfan, currently in the squad with 81 appearances, which is not bad, which is really not bad. And he's also our top goal scorer with 24 goals. And our star player, I think that for this competition, and I think that the world's gonna be surprised by him, is none other than Edison Flores. He's our left midfielder, but can also play as a CM. He can distribute the ball very, very well. He's a very good player in the sense of with skill move and very, very good with trickery. But I think that the main thing is that he also has a lot of goals. He's the second top goal scorer for Peru behind Jefferson Farfan with like 18 goals, which is really, really impressive for a player who necessarily doesn't have that good of performances in Aalborg in Denmark. So if he had a good performance here in Peru, hopefully he can move to a better club in a major European league. Hopefully the German league. I think that the German league is very good developing this kind of players. Moving on to our squad, we're going to give them obviously a squad rating of B because I think that we have a very good player in every single position. And I think that most importantly, our substitutes, our manager Ricardo Gareca has made this team think that the substitutes are not substitutes. They're just an extension of the first team. Every single substitute coming into this team, they do not feel they're substitutes. They think they're playing for a reason. And that's something very good Gareca has done, because we can bring on a second striker. We can bring on a right back who is most likely a substitute, but he's going to be playing like he's earned it. And that's very, very good to see. So the potential 11 is going to be a 4-4-2. Because obviously with the departure, not the departure, but the ban to Guerrero, because all of that drugs and stuff, he's not gonna be able to play the World Cup, unfortunately. Apparently there's like this final straw for him to go to the High Supreme Court of Switzerland and tell them to completely nullify the ban, but that's too weird, and hopefully he can play the World Cup, but I just don't think time's gonna be there for us to have our star player in the squad. So the main goalkeeper is going to be Pedro Galese. We're going to have Cristian Ramos and Alberto Rodriguez as the two main center backs. For the left, we're going to have Miguel Trauco. For the right, we're going to have, in my opinion, Luis Advíncula. I think he's just that little bit better than Aldo Corso, which is another right back who has been playing a very long time in this team. The two main CMs are going to be Yoshimar Yotun and Renato Tapia. I think for the left, it's going to be Edison Flores. For the right, Cristian Cueva. And then up top, we're going to have Jefferson Farfan and André Carrillo, who could also be replaced by Raúl Ruiz, who had an amazing season with Monarcas Morelia in Mexico. According to our fixtures, we have a very, very tough fixture list because we have a very important match with Denmark. If we lose that match against Denmark, we're out. Basically, we are very, very out, because then we're going to need to face France, which I think we could be competitive against, and then against Australia. But if we lose against Denmark, then we have we're 50-50 with Denmark chances. If Denmark win, they go up to 75% possibilities of going through, and Peru go all the way down to 25. So it's whoever wins that match has a very, very good advantage of going to the World Cup. So hopefully we win against Denmark. Hopefully we can. Moving on, we're going to take a look at our main rivals in this group, and that's going to be Denmark. They're currently ranked in the 12th position. So that tells you a lot. Peru in the 11th and then Denmark in the 12th. They've qualified by beating, if I'm not wrong, Ireland in the playoff of Europe. And they beat them with an amazing hat-trick from Christian Eriksen. I do remember that. Their manager is Herreit. I don't know. Herreit. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but that's his manager, their manager. They've appeared also in the World Cup 4 times, and their most experienced player is Nicolas Bender, the Lord, with 81 appearances as well. It's not a mistake, it's not a typo. He actually has also appeared 81 times for the Denmark national team. Their last World Cup was in South Africa in 2010 when they went out in the group stages, and their top goal scorer is also the Lord, Nicolas Bender, with 30 goals. Their star player obviously for this World Cup, I think it's going to be Christian Eriksen. I think Christian Eriksen is one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's absolutely a great talent. If any other team than Spurs would have him, perhaps even Bayern or Barcelona, I think he would be rated like really high. Not only on FIFA obviously, but in real life. And I think he will be regarded as one of the best out there. Really good Eriksen. Moving on now to their first 11, we're gonna take a look at Schmeichel in goal. He's obviously the son of Peter Schmeichel. He's Casper now. We're gonna have Andreas Christensen from Chelsea, and also alongside him we're gonna have Simon Kjaer from Sevilla. In the left back position we're gonna have I don't know his name, he has a really long name, but I'm just gonna call him Larsen from Udinese. He's gonna play as a left back. Dalsgaard from Brentford in the right back position. The two CDMs are gonna be Thomas Delaney and William Vest, and then up top we're gonna have Christian Eriksen to his left, Bjorn Sisto through his right, Paulsen, and then in front of him we're gonna have Nikolai Jorgensen from Feyenoord. I gotta say that this squad is also very good, similar to Peru's squad in the sense that we have very good players in every single position. So I'm gonna give them also a B rating, and they have a very similar fixture list to Peru. However, they have the second match to come back, and that's going to be against Australia. So if they lose against Peru, for instance, they can bounce back against Australia and get the 3 points right away. With Peru perhaps losing against France, we don't know that yet, but it mostly seems like it. So if we take that into account, then it's gonna be a huge match for the end in Denmark if they're gonna be facing France. So I don't know which one for you is easier, but I think that both of them have a very tough list. Very tough fixture actually. And now to finish out this group, we're going to take a look at Australia, which finally makes up Group C. They're ranked currently in the 37th position. They're currently ranked in the 40th. They actually do went down. However, they were a little bit higher when the groups were drawn. So they are currently ranked in the 37th while this video is on. Their playoff, they obviously won against Honduras, I think it was, in the international playoff, so very good. Their manager is Bert van Marwijk. I'm gonna try to say that right. Their appearances are previously 4 in the World Cup. Their most experienced player is Tim Cahill with 105 appearances, so the triple digits. The last World Cup was in Brazil 2014 in the group stages, where they were out in a group that contained, if I'm not wrong, Chile, Netherlands, and Spain. So that was a very tough group for Australia. Their top goal scorer is Tim Cahill with 50 goals, which is a lot. And their star player, I think, is going to be Aaron Mooy, which if he doesn't leave Huddersfield this season, he'll probably leave the next, because I just think he's a very good player who should be playing around a mid-table team like Everton, or maybe even somebody like a West Ham, perhaps. No, what am I saying? Everton definitely, or even like a Leicester City, who knows? But I think he's a very good player. And now to finish off this with a potential 11 of Australia, we're going to take a look at a 4-2-3-1 formation. We're going to go with Brad Jones from Feyenoord in the goalkeeper position. The two main center backs are going to be Degenerek and Trent Sainsbury. The left back is going to be Behic. The right back is going to be Riston. The two CDMs are going to be Aaron Mooy and Jedinak. And the left mid is going to be Lecky. For the right, Max Cruz. For the cam position, it's going to be Rogic from Celtic. And then up top, we're going to have Juric. I'm going to give them a B- squad rating, because even though they have decent players for the first 11, they got actually very decent players. While I'll try to research for this potential 11 for Australia, I realized they actually had good players. Normally, I would have thought they had like so-so players, but they actually have decent players in decent clubs. But however, I'm going to put B- because they doesn't necessarily have good substitutes, and that really hinders you in something like the World Cup, where you have to play 3 matches in the span of, I think, 5 days or even 3. So it's very tough that they're going to be able actually to play with their main squad always. They're going to need to rotate, and those players coming in, I don't think are going to be as good as the players coming out. And their fixture actually is quite harder. It's actually the hardest out of all the teams in this group, because they face France first. So if they lose, they go -3 points. Then against Denmark, it's going to be hard. And then against Peru, it's also going to be hard. However, Australia have something that not two other teams have, and there is actually, they have a lot of physicality. So in this sense, I think that Australia can do something. Australia, I think that should aim for the draw in every single one. But I'm not trying to disrespect Australia. I mean that they're going to be the team who can actually decide a lot in this group because they have the ability to just sit down and defend. It's going to be really tough to beat Australia. And that's something that Australia can use in their advantage. Because if they can get a draw against France, then get a draw against Denmark, then get a draw against Peru, they could even go through. They could try and use that final match against Peru to be that final motivator to try and go through. Because if they get draw against France and Denmark, they're in a very, very good position. So all taking that into account, I think that Australia are the weakest team in this group. But I do think they are the hardest team to beat in this group. Even France, I think, are easier to beat than Peru because France can crumble down, or some other time they can just be bang, bang, bang. So to finish off this preview, I'm going to give my predictions for this group. I actually do think that France are going to finish top. I don't think that France are going to be an upset. They could be. They really have a good advantage to be an upset. But I do think that France have more than enough to easily win these 3 games. Next up, it's all about between me, Denmark, and Peru. And I think that obviously Peru are going to go through. But I do think we have some certain arguments. We play very good with the ball. We play very good with our feet on the ground. And Denmark as well. So that match is going to be the match. Whoever wins that first match, Peru versus Denmark, I think is going to go through. So hopefully Peru wins that match. Hopefully we can use our inexperience in a World Cup as an advantage. Because not too many teams know about Peru. When Croatia played against Peru, we blew them out of the water. I mean, we've scored probably one of the best goals Peru have ever scored in the history. We do tiki-taka like freaking Barcelona Pep Guardiola style. So if we take that into account, if we take into account that mostly teams in Europe like Denmark perhaps could be a little bit too naive, couldn't understand perhaps Peru or doesn't even know too much about our players, I think that's where we're going to hurt them. Hopefully that happens and hopefully we can advance to the next stages where unfortunately we would face most likely Argentina. But that's for another video later on. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed my preview of this group. Obviously I think that after Peru would be Denmark and then finally Australia, unfortunately. But that's going to be everything for today. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.